is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southwest.
His streak stands at 26 straight scoreless innings. He's thrown consecutive shutouts, including his last start against Oakland. He leads the American League in ERA. And he's starting tonight. Martin Perez leads your Rangers as they battle the A's next on Fox Sports Southwest. Rangers baseball is presented by AT Uverse TV. Now it's a breezy and somewhat cool evening, but come along for the ride tonight as Ranger fans walking into Globe Life Park. They are going to see a great pitching matchup in Game 2 of this series. Tonight it'll be Martin Perez and the Rangers taking on the Oakland A's. And welcome in everyone, along with Tom Graves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us on the Tuesday night of Ranger baseball. Rangers now find themselves a game back of Oakland, but Martin Perez on the mound. He has been nothing short of spectacular this year, Tom, and a good guy to count on if you need a W.
He is, Buzz. Last year, he got an opportunity to start 20 times. He won 10 games, kind of established himself as a solid starter for the Rangers. So far through 5 games, he's a lot more than a solid starter. He's been maybe one of the 2 or 3 best pitchers in the American League in the month of April. His ERA is the best. He's tied for first in wins. He gets a ton of ground balls, which has led to a lot of ground ball double plays. His slugging percentage, his on-base percentage given up is very low. He keeps the ball down. He's working on a scoreless streak of 26 innings, so it doesn't get much better than that. It's been a dream start for Martin.
Well, the Rangers are supplying him with some veteran presence in the lineup. We saw Adrian Beltre come back last week. Tonight, Shin-Soo Choo back in the lineup, albeit at the DH slot, but at least he's back there swinging the bat. We'll have the A's and the Rangers starting lineup first pitch coming up right after this. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Take the EcoBoost Challenge to see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. By the all-new Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. And by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airline fares online only at southwest.com. A brisk breeze blowing out to dead center field from the northwest tonight. Ron Washington's club looking to snap a modest 2-game losing streak as they take on the A's. Before we get underway, let's head down to the dugout and Emily Jones. Em?
Well, Buzz, you and Tom talked about the early season success of Martin Perez. You've got the scoreless inning streak. You've got the low ERA and the undefeated record. And I asked Martin what he felt like the key to all of the success here in the month of April has been.
I think my sinker is really nice. I use it a lot, and first pitch strike for me, that's big too, because every time I attack the hitter and I get a quick out.
And that sinker has been a big part of Martin's ability to induce that double play ground ball, of which he has 11 so far this season. You talked to Ron Washington about it. He says that is no accident. It's no coincidence. That is a pitcher that has honed a very specific pitch for a very specific reason, and he is obviously working it here in the early goings of 2014, guys. All
right, Emily, thank you. Well, it has to be music to the ears of Mike Maddox to hear his 23-year-old left-hander say, I use my fastball, my sinker. That's the number one thing, and that's great to hear. Well, Perez, who shut out the A's in his last start, back-to-back starts now against a team. Sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a little tough, but at least he knows this lineup very well tonight. Coco Crisp leads off. He's the center fielder. Jed Lowry is next, and the third baseman, Josh Donaldson. Yoenis Cespedes back in the lineup. He is DHing. Derek Norris catches. Alberto Callaspo to start at first. Craig Gentry in left field, Josh Reddick in right, and the second baseman and number 9 hitter is Nick Punto.
And our Sonic scouting report for Martin Perez, 4-0 with a 1.42 ERA in 5 starts this year. He's been terrific. First pitcher in franchise history with back-to-back shutouts with 3 hits or less in each game. 2-1 with a 1.61 ERA in his last 3 starts against the Oakland A's. Roger Clemens had 3 shutouts in a row with 3 hits or less. So I guess that's something to shoot for today, Buzz.
Yeah. Although I think Martin would be very happy with just
a win. Yeah, we would too.
Let's take a look at the Ranger defense, brought to you by DeMontron RV. Joyce and left, Martin in center. Rios is in right, fielder at first. Josh Wilson at second tonight. Elvis Andrus the shortstop. Beltre at third. And Robinson Chirinos once again behind the dish. And the 23-year-old left-hander, a pair of Venezuelans forming that battery tonight. And they have been nothing short of sensational working together. So here we go. Coco Crisp, the switch hitter, steps in batting from the right side. Crisp, a .258 average. Couple of home runs, 10 driven in. First pitch is a strike on the inside corner. Marcus Patillo, by the way, is calling the balls and strikes tonight. Crisp, 5 for 13 against Martin Perez. Hammers this one down the left field line, and that is going for extra bases all the way to the wall. Crisp into second as Michael Choice gets the ball back in, and Coco Crisp immediately in scoring position with a leadoff double.
Yeah, nice quick stroke by Crisp at the fastball, about belt high and on the inside part of the plate. He didn't get jammed on this pitch. He's trying to throw it down and away, but pitch kind of cuts up and in, and Crisp is able to turn on it. So right off the bat, you can see the possibility of missing your location and what can happen.
So Crisp at second, nobody out. Jed Lowry, also a switch hitter, up there batting second. Lowry a .280 hitter. Rangers have their cornermen up at just about the cut of the grass, and a bunt is on. It's going to roll foul as Beltre comes down to field it in foul territory and make sure it doesn't go back to the line.
The way both pitchers have been pitching, I guess right off the bat, you probably would play for 1 run just to get a run on the board. The A's were shut out by Martin. I'm sure they'd be happy with 1 run in the first inning. Lowry wasn't really sacrifice bunting there. He was going to take a sacrifice, but hope for a base hit.
Yeah, Oakland not a big sacrifice bunting team. They only have 3 for the season. But the bottom line there would tell you why. One reason why Lowry might have been sacrificing, at least on his own. 1 for 9. He's had trouble solving Martin Perez. See, the Ranger defense, it's a line so that if there's a ball sharply hit to the right side and it's at Prince Fielder, he's close enough that he might be able to have a play if Crisp takes off to third. 0-1 the count as Perez sets. No bunt here, and that pitch is chopped foul. So Martin getting ahead 0-2. Lowry, a couple of home runs this year, 11 RBI, and over the last 13 ball games, he's been one of the hotter hitters in the A's lineup. 321 over the last couple of weeks. Martin Perez studying the signs. He agrees with Chirinos on 1. 1-2. Nice crowd filing in tonight. A cooler evening than it was last night, but still very, very pleasant. Perez a couple of looks back to second. Now the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Martin in that last outing against Oakland, a very low pitch count, only 108 pitches. And Coco Crisp hitting the second pitch that he saw for a double to start things here tonight. Now the 2-2. Hard hit, looping line drive. And right at Josh Wilson for out number 1.
Well, he did a good job of, if that's what he was trying to do, going the other way to try to move the runner over, but he didn't get it on the ground. Hit it right in the air to Josh. Runner stays at second.
Well, Lowry gone. Now Josh Donaldson will come to the plate. Donaldson, couple of RBI last night. Now is up to his team high total to 22. And Martin Perez has not had a lot of success against Donaldson. Saw 4 for 10, and 3 of those 4 have gone for extra bases. Way outside, nice backhanded stop by Robinson Chirinos. Now the umpiring crew tonight, Marcus Patillo is behind the plate. Blas Diaz at first, Scott Berry at second. The crew chief is Jeff Nelson. He's stationed down at third. 1 ball, no strikes to Donaldson. 277 the average overall for the A's third baseman. Slowly hit out towards short. Elvis takes his time, makes an accurate throw. On the second out of the inning, Coco Crisp goes to third. He is there with 2 outs now for Yoenis Cespedes.
Well, you never know what Wash would have done, but let's say Lowry did get the runner over to third base. There's a decent chance Wash would have played the infield back, in which case a little ground ball scores a run. But, you know, sometimes a manager in the first inning might anticipate a low-scoring game and say, heck with it, I'm playing the infield in right off the bat.
Yeah. Well, Cespedes, who's sat out the last 4 games with that hamstring problem, back in there tonight as the DH. 238 his average overall, 4 for 12 against Martin Perez, and Perez will work from the stretch with 2 outs and Crisp at third. 1 ball, no strikes. Cespedes tailed off last year, his second year in the big leagues, against the Rangers. First year, he just killed them. Hit well over 320, and last year the Rangers kind of got back even a little bit. That pitch is low. It's 2-0. The ebbs and flows of a major league career. Cespedes developing into one of the better power hitters in all of baseball. Martin, a belt high set. And he misses low. It's 3-0. Now working carefully to Cespedes. Martin Perez has fallen behind 3-0. Derek Norris, the bearded catcher, waiting in the on-deck circle. Grizzly Adams. Three balls, no strikes. Inside, ball 4. Yeah, not a deal breaker by any means, that walk to Cespedes, especially when you fall behind. No sense with 2 outs giving him anything that he's going to be able to handle easily. You know, Bob Melvin's club has runners at the corners. 2 outs, Derek Norris, who has been very, very hot swinging the bat. 362, the average overall.
Yeah, and you can't blame the pitcher for wanting to be careful to Cespedes. And that's exactly what Martin did. But at the same time, you get a hot hitter in Derek Norris coming to the plate.
Norris 6 for 8 in the just completed series for the A's down in Houston. First pitch to him. And a fastball right through there. A little extra on that one from Martin Perez at 92 miles an hour. Norris over his last 8 ball games. You saw the 11 for 22. That's after hitting 240 over his first 10 games. To left center field in a hurry. Martini can't get it. It's by him all the way to the wall. Crisp will score. Cespedes being waved around third. He will score on a 2-run double by Derek Norris, and the A's jump out on top 2-0.
Well, off the bat, it looked like it was an automatic double in the gap. And then you saw Martin closing on it, and you said, ooh, he might get to it. But at the very end, that ball was hit so hard, he couldn't get to it. That's one of those balls that right in the center of the plate, and he hit that right in the center of the sweet spot. And it was hit so hard that Leonis just couldn't quite get to it.
So the A's jump on top here in the first inning, 2-0. And the pitch to Alberto Callaspo, the switch hitting first baseman, is in for strike 1.
He pitched carefully to Cespedes, but unfortunately Norris came through with a base hit. Just made a mistake to him. Threw the ball where he was not trying to throw it.
Breaking ball that hangs outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the shutout string for Martin Perez has come to an end. The first runs that he's given up since the 7th inning of a game that he pitched on April the 8th in Boston. You know, we just have to start a new string now. 1-1 pitch. That is a knee-high strike. And it's 1-2 to Callaspo. Norris, the runner at second, as Callaspo waits. Perez set. And the pitch is called strike 3. A comeback fastball, and Callaspo is gone, but the A's get 2 runs on 2 hits and strand 1. After a half inning of play, Oakland 2-0. time here tonight. They will be facing Scott Kazmir. The Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Rangers looks like this. Shin-Soo Choo is leading off. He's DHing. Elvis Andrus bats second. Then it's Adrian Beltre and Prince Fielder batting cleanup. Alex Rios is in right field. Michael Choice in left. Leonis Martin is the center fielder. Robinson Chirinos bats eighth and catches, and Josh Wilson plays second, and he's batting ninth.
Sonic scouting report for Scott Kazmir. 5 starts this year. The A's have won all 5 of those starts. He's 3-0 with an excellent ERA. He's given opponents a .234 on base percentage, second in the American League. In his last 7 starts going back into last year, he's 5-0 with a .136 ERA. Opponents hitting below 200. He's made a nice comeback. A couple years ago, he was pitching in independent league baseball. Wasn't even in professional baseball. Now was a sought-after free agent. The A's signed him, and he's been one of their best pitchers so far in April.
I know there was a time in 2012 the Rangers scouted Kazmir when he was playing down at Sugar Land.
Yeah.
Shin-Soo Choo back in the top of the order, and he takes ball 1. Choo came on last night, pinch hit, and flied out in his only at bat. .310 the average, on base percentage at .427. And a strike evens the count.
Kazmir has very good control. He does not walk many. This year, 6 in 33 innings.
The 1-1. Little chopper foul. That came up and got a piece of Choo before it went down the first base line. A ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, and I think that's probably the one thing that Kazmir is doing much better now than he did earlier as a younger pitcher. And that's control the strike zone.
Yep. Doesn't walk many and doesn't give up home runs. He and Sonny Gray have only given up 1 home run apiece this year.
Just outside, that's the slider from Kazmir. 2-2 now to Choo. Kazmir originally a first-round draft choice by the Mets. That was back in 2002. And Choo fouls it out of play. And the Tampa Bay Rays got him in a big trade in 2004. Had some very good times with Tampa Bay, and also ran into the arm problems at Tampa Bay. Another 2-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Looks like Emily down there is in the shooting gallery again. And the ground ball headed toward her. Kazmir to the line. And another foul tip. But Choo hanging tough. He is making Scott Kazmir work. This will be the 8th pitch coming to him in this first at bat. Kazmir last year with the Cleveland Indians went 10-9, and that really resurrected his starting ambitions. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Choo, a very good at bat, and he's trying to get aboard to start the Ranger first. Elvis Andrus is swinging a bat in the on-deck circle. Kazmir with the payoff pitch. He hit him. Well, that
didn't walk anybody.
Nope. Took him 9 pitches, though, to finally plunk Choo. Remember, though, Shin-Soo Choo last year got hit 26 times. And the majority of them were by a left-handed pitcher. Even though he didn't hit very well average-wise against left-handers, he had a great on-base percentage. That pitch is working its way right into the right elbow or upper right arm. Now Norris going to go out and talk a little bit with Scott Kazmir. Yeah, 1 on, nobody out. Rangers trailing 2-0 in the early going, but they've got their leadoff man on first. Elvis steps in hitting .242. Yeah, he's really hit some tough times batting, but he's done well against Kazmir over the years. A .400 average. The first pitch to him is outside for ball one. Didn't reach base last night. That's only the second time in 26 games this year that Elvis has not been aboard by either a hit or a walk. Kazmir back down the back slope of the mound to have a little chat with himself. Left-hander sets. Checks Chu at first. And he will go that way with a toss.
Kazmir in 2011 had one relief appearance with the Angels. We mentioned 2012 he pitched independent league baseball. And then last year he made a nice comeback. Went 10-9 in 29 starts.
And Elvis takes a strike to even things at 1-1.
Pitched 158 innings last year and struck out 162, so more than a strikeout per inning. And that led to the opportunity to be a free agent. Signed a nice lucrative contract with the A's.
Elvis a chopper to third. Donaldson to second for one. The return to Callaspo in time, and they're around the horn. 5-4-3 double play.
Batting third.
And that empties the bases now. There are 2 outs for Adrian Beltre.
Arizona, that takes a large hop in the left field for a base hit, but not during the regular season.
Arizona, that thing might be a double. Now here's Beltre. Adrian at 273.
A's turned a couple of double plays early in the game yesterday for Sonny Gray right off the bat. After Chu had a 9-pitch at bat, got on base on a hit by pitch. Quickly they have 2 outs. Big double play for Scott Kazmir.
Adrian, as you can tell, at 192, not particularly enjoying his time against Scott Kazmir over the years. Kazmir typically has a better opponent's batting average against right-handers than he does against left-handers. To the point last year it was 162 against right-handers and the 273 average against left-hand, or I should say against left-handed batters. And reverse splits for him. A ball and 2 strikes to Beltre. Kazmir back to the plate. And a foul ball. A's with Scott Kazmir and Jesse Chavez in the rotation. Matter of fact, Chavez is pitching tomorrow. This is the first time for the A's they've had 2 30-plus-year-olds in the starting rotation for 5 years. And Beltre slams that off his front foot.
Yeah, they've had Bartolo Colon the last couple of years. Bartolo became a free agent, signed with the Mets. Well, they kind of replaced him with Kazmir.
Bartolo could have accounted for 2 30-year-olds, couldn't he? He's pitching well for the Mets now.
He's one of those guys. He can handle his weight, boy.
And his age.
Yeah. Generally, you think it would catch up with him as he gets older into his upper 30s, but it hasn't. He's still pitching pretty well for the Mets.
Beltre taking a little time getting back in, waiting for the pain to subside. Kazmir hands together, into the wind he goes, and the left-hander deals. Just a little bit low, 2-2. Seventh pitch of this at bat is on the way. A high changeup that Adrian's not real happy with himself for fouling that off his foot. Now we'll take a look at the rest of the A's defense for you tonight. You've already seen some of the infield. How about Gentry in left, Crisp in center, and Reddick is in right. Callaspo at first, Punto at second. Jed Lowry, the shortstop. Josh Donaldson at third. And Derek Norris is catching. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Adrian Beltre. Got him swinging. Foul tipped into Norris's glove, and the Rangers are gone. Nothing across. We'll go to the second. It's the A's 2, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. In the top of the second inning, leading 2-0. Martin Perez back to the hill, seeing if he can right the ship, so to speak. Gave up the 2 runs on a pair of doubles in the first inning. There's also a walk mixed in there that came around to score. Craig Gentry, former teammate of Martin Perez, takes high for ball 1. Gentry, after battling some low back issues that kept him out of the lineup the first part of the season, back in there now and hitting over 300, 303. Foul tipped, it's 1-1. Getting a lot of playing time against left-handed starters. And when Cespedes is able to play in the outfield, Gentry a lot of times will start in center field in place of Coco Crisp, who, despite the first inning double, has had trouble against left-handed pitchers. There's a base hit to left center field. Over to cut it off his choice. He can't get it. It's by him and all the way to the wall. And Gentry is putting on the burners. He will cruise into third base with a leadoff triple.
Already in the game, Martin, through 7 hitters, has thrown 3 pitches that have been hit hard up in the strike zone. I don't think he threw many pitches like that in 9 innings in Oakland. Kept the sinker down, but that pitch cuts right up middle of the plate. Pretty much the same pitch Crisp hit and the same pitch Norris hit. So when they've gotten the opportunity, they haven't missed it.
Gentry with a 3-bagger, and now with nobody out, Rangers will play the infield back. Josh Reddick is the hitter. And the first pitch is low and inside for ball 1. Martin Perez, coming into tonight, had allowed only a total of 4 extra base hits. And tonight, already, he's allowed 3. 1-1 the count.
Yeah, very seldom has he made those kind of pitches that he's made already early in this game.
Yeah.
And I guess when he has, we haven't noticed it because they didn't hit him like that, which is certainly possible. The A's have had 3 to hit, and they've hit him.
Reddick, a .250 hitter. He takes that breaking ball off the outside corner. It's 2 balls and a strike. Reddick, a home run, 6 driven in. You see on the road trip, he has gotten things squared around for himself. 6 out of 14. That pitch is low. It's 3-1. So Martin Perez in danger of losing Josh Reddick. The number 9 man, Nick Punto, is waiting to be next. Greg Gentry, the runner at third with nobody out. 3-1, the count to Reddick. Sounded like a broken bat. Chopper foul, and it did bust that lumber up, so Reddick has to get a new piece of wood. A little embarrassing, the 3-1 count, and you get jammed with a fastball. And break your bat on top of that. So Perez will take the sign again, working from the stretch with nobody out and Gentry at third. And another topper foul. Look at the changeup that time. Reddick getting back in the batter's box, digging that left foot in at the back line. Perez okays the sign. He's ready to go. Another 3-2 on the way. The fielder, he thought about coming home, but Gentry, too good of a jump. So fielder takes it to the bag. Gentry scores. Reddick on the ground out makes it a 3-0 Oakland lead. And before Nick Punto steps in, let's go and say hello to Jim Knox. Jim?
I appreciate it, Buzz. Nice crowd here tonight. Date night over here, it looks like, right, guys? All right, there we go. Community Corner this evening. We're talking about hundreds of participants in the Miracle League. Dallas-Fort Worth are here tonight. Guests of the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. To find out more about the Miracle League, in which the Rangers Foundation, as well as their alumni, support throughout the years, log on to texasrangers.com/foundation. Buzz?
All right, Jim, thank you. Nick Punto fights off an inside pitch and fouls it out of play. It's 0-1. Punto, a switch hitter, but he has done most of his swinging from the right side this year. He's basically platooning with Eric Sogard, who is a left-handed hitting second baseman. They've been pretty effective. Punto hitting at .250 overall.
Punto's a career .248 hitter. He's a career .310 hitter against the Rangers. Quite a few at bats too. 129 at bats against the Rangers.
1 ball and 2 strikes to him. 42 games. Punto has indeed done that damage. And he skies one to shallow right field toward the line and in a couple of steps. Alex Rios puts it away. That is out number 2. And that'll take the A's back to the top of their order for Coco Crisp. Martin Perez trying to keep it at a 3-0 game. And first time he faced Crisp, left one up in the middle of the strike zone, and Coco Crisp turned on it. Lined a double into the corner in left field. Came around to score. 2 outs later on the double by Derek Norris. And a fastball is just off the plate for ball 1. Crisp from the right side, a .222 hitter. As a left-handed hitter, .264. Pitch is a bit low, and it's 2-0. Perez to the wind and gets a strike. Coco Crisp, the veteran outfielder. Well, he has taken his game to a different level the last couple of years with Oakland. 2-1. That's in the dirt. 3 balls and a strike. Last year, he had 22 home runs and stole 21 bases. Stolen bases always been a part of his repertoire, but the 22 home runs kind of came out of nowhere. 10th player in Oakland history with 2020. Chopper foul, and that will run the count full. If Crisp is able to extend this second inning, Jed Lowry, the shortstop, would get a chance to bat here in the top of the second frame. Payoff pitch is on the way. A defensive swing and a chopper out to second base. And that'll do it. That's Craig Gentry's leadoff triple. The ground out by Josh Reddick played another run. We're going to the bottom of the second. 3-0 Oakland on Fox Sports Southwest. To tweet your photo for a chance to have it shown in our upcoming broadcast. And that's all thanks to AT&T. Use hashtag Southwest Fan Photo, and your photo might be selected to be aired during the season on our telecast. Well, the A's 3 runs on 3 hits, and all 3 hits have gone for extra bases. Scott Kazmir back to work. He'll face Prince Fielder to start the Rangers second. Fielder takes a fastball for strike 1. Prince hitting at an even 200, a couple of home runs, and 8 RBI. Kazmir working off the third base side of the pitching rubber. And a ground ball to the left side by Fielder, but this one gobbled up by Donaldson, the third baseman, who was playing off the line by about 25 feet. No, even when Prince is able to hit the ball the other way, it doesn't work out for him right now.
No, you would think with all the space out there, ground ball to left side would trickle through.
No, 1 out for Alex Rios. Rios, the most at bats of any current Ranger against Scott Kazmir. Just 9 for 43, though. That's a .209 average. Overall this year, though, Rios off to a great start in the month of April. .330 the average with 11 RBI. That is tied with Leonis Martin for the high water mark on the Rangers for runs driven in. High and tight, 2-0. Kazmir's next pitch. Knee-high strike. Rios, among the league leaders in batting average against left-handed pitchers. He's 5th in the American League with a .429 average against the Portsiders. In the air to left center field. Crisp got a pretty good break on it there in plenty of time. And that is out number 2. So with the bases empty, Michael Choice will get his first at bat of the evening.
And Kazmir has a nice, smooth delivery. Looks like he might be a little tough to pick up for the hitters. That last pitch was up and in, jammed Alex a little bit. He was a harder thrower when he was younger. He's a better pitcher right now.
Michael Joyce takes strike one. Yeah, when he first got over to Tampa Bay, it was first experience I saw him. He really brought some heat. Didn't always know where it was going, but he could get it up there in a hurry. Foul tip by Michael. It's no balls and 2 strikes. Joyce hitting at 208. Back down out of the leadoff spot. He's hitting 6th tonight with Shin-Soo Choo back in the order.
Yeah, that 1 year you're talking about, Buzz, if you go back to 2005, his first full year, he walked 100 batters in 186 innings.
Swinging strike 3, and Choice is gone. So are the Rangers. 1, 2, 3 and out. We'll go to the third. It's Oakland 3 and Texas nothing. TV Premium, it's the #1 live streaming sports service. It's celebrating 12 years. You join the millions of subscribers and watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Just go to TexasRangers.com for details. Top of the third inning, Jed Lowry starting things off against Martin Perez, and a little excuse me line drive to right. On comes Rios. He has to play it on a hop. As that ball falls in just out of his reach, and Lowry didn't mean to do it, but he's aboard with a leadoff single.
Third baseman Josh Donaldson.
That is the first non-extra base hit that the A's have gotten tonight.
You're right. He didn't want to swing at it. Just kind of bunted it out there. Dropped it in right in front of Alex. Good location for that little tap.
The 1 on, nobody out. Josh Donaldson with his second at bat. Donaldson a ground ball to short. His first time up against Perez. Left-hander is set. A check of first. And the pitch to Donaldson is on the inside corner for strike 1. Donaldson 1 for 4 with a couple of runs driven in last night. He's now 6 for 20 on this road trip for the A's. 0-2. A's split the 4 games, I should say, at 2 apiece with the Astros. Won the opener of this series last night. Time called. Donaldson backing out of the batter's box. 1 on, nobody out. Josh Donaldson facing Martin Perez. And the pitch in the dirt. 1-2. Well, the rankings for Josh Donaldson this year. 7 game-winning RBIs. That's the most in the American League. He's second with 16 extra base hits. Tied for third with 7 home runs, and he's tied for fourth with 22 RBI. 2-2 now. And last year, Donaldson kind of came out of nowhere to take over the third base job for the A's and ended up being fourth in the MVP voting.
Yeah, he's a feisty player. Good player.
Perez ready for the 2-2 pitch. Could be a double play. Elvis Wilson fielder. 6-4-3, the 12th double play turned by the Rangers in support of Martin Perez, and that is by far the most in Major League Baseball.
That's how he gets it, too. He makes the ball sink away, and the right-hand hitter tries to pull it out in front of it, and usually it's not only a double play, but an easy double play. They're not hard-hit smashes. Most of them are just tappers like that, little choppers that are easily turned into double plays.
So that empties the bases and brings up Yoenis Cespedes, who drew a walk, and it turned out to be a critical walk in that first inning. First ball swinging, shallow right center field. Out goes Wilson, and the ball drops in between Wilson and Alex Rios. And Cespedes has a bloop single.
It turned out Alex was playing fairly deep in right field, couldn't get to it. Josh almost made a highlight play. Way out in right field with his back to the plate. Like an easy out right here, and then you look up and say, well, there's no one there. I think if there was no one there, Alex might have been able to catch it, but he wasn't hollering for it.
Yeah.
And to go after it then would have been a collision. But it was definitely an easier play for him coming in.
So Cespedes aboard with 2 outs. Derek Norris. Now the hitter Norris lashed a double to the gap in left center to drive home the first 2 runs in that first inning for Oakland. Takes outside for ball 1. And Norris now with a .375 average, and he is 7th for his last 9 trips to the plate on this current road trip for Oakland. One-0 pitch. And 2-0. Norris now with a double-digit RBI total. Perez a check of first. 2-0 pitch is lined to left field. Choice going over, reaches up, he can't get it. It's by him and all the way to the wall. Cespedes being waved around third. Andrews makes a throw, but it's late. And for the second straight time, Derek Norris has an RBI double. This time driving in Cespedes. That makes it a 4-0 Oakland lead.
Well, Cespedes has been tested today. He's had to score twice on doubles, so it looks like his hamstring's holding up pretty well. And Norris, for the second time, instead of down and away, right down the middle of the plate. The ball kind of cuts to the center of the plate, and he hits this one just as hard as the last one. Off the bat, you say Michael's got a chance, and then you watch how hard that ball's hit. Can't get to it. And Norris, the beneficiary of 2 pitches that we haven't seen very often from Martin in April.
Yeah, it looks like Martin, Tom, is getting on the side of that sinker a little bit. You need to have your fingers on top of the ball when you're throwing it, so you get that good diving action. When you get it off to the side, it's exactly like you're saying, it cuts a little bit.
It looked like it kind of came right to the center of the plate 2 times in a row. And that's the same pitch Gentry hit, and same pitch Chris hit, really.
So Norris at second, another run across. Hayes has scored in all 3 innings so far. And the breaking ball to Callaspo. Nibbles on the outside corner for strike 1.
Yeah, that one's too bad. You get the double play with nobody on. You make a good pitch to Cespedes, and he pops it up and has the ball fall in for a base hit for him.
Callaspo called out on strikes. Back in the first inning, takes low. 1-1. Callaspo getting most of his at-bats this year as the DH, but starting occasionally at first, as he's doing tonight. Perez with the 1-1 pitch to it. To right field. This will hang up well enough for Alex Rios to get underneath it. Side retire, but the A's score again. They get a run on 3 hits and leave one after 2.5. It's now the A's 4 and the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Buy Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. Kind of a stunned crowd at Globe Life Park tonight. They came out to see a great battle of left-handed pitchers, and they've seen Scott Kazmir be the beneficiary of a 4-run outburst off of Martin Perez tonight by the A's. Kazmir will go to work in the bottom of the third.
Kazmir doesn't really need it the way he's pitching this year, but he has been the beneficiary of a lot of run support coming into the game. The A's had scored almost 7 runs a game for him. So it's working out in his favor to get the runs. Maybe that allows him to relax, but he hasn't needed that kind of run support the way he's pitching in April.
And Leonys Martin takes a bit low for ball 1. Martin at .310. That average hovering right around that mark for the better part of the last 2 weeks. Had a good rip at a fastball and fouled it back. It's 1-1. Leonys has hit safely in 11 of those 12 games. You see the .366 average in those dozen contests. 1-2. And Martin having continued success here at Globe Life Park. He is 3rd in the American League with a .409 home average. Up the middle, over second into center field, and Leonys Martin continues to hit well at home. Leadoff single, the first base hit by the Rangers off Scott Kazmir tonight. Time for a Mazda game break. Here's Aaron Hardigan. Aaron.
Batting 8th, the catcher, number 61, Robinson Chirinos.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Well, Leonys Martin with a leadoff single. Now Robinson Chirinos, the Ranger catcher, will step in. Chirinos Batting at .231. He's hit safely in a career high 4 straight ball games. It's the 3rd time during his career he has had that many consecutive ball games.
Well, that was kind of fought that fastball off. It was on the inside part of the plate, maybe a little bit inside, jammed him. But Rangers have to start somewhere. It'll take a soft single to get us started here.
A ball and a strike. Heard a lot of hitting coaches say, you know, to be a real good hitter, you have to be willing to get jammed.
Ted Williams used to say that.
Did he?
Yeah. Can't be afraid to get jammed.
Yeah. And I think you saw why Leonis Martin wasn't afraid to get jammed. Maybe he didn't intend to, but it just happened that way. Stayed with the ball a long time.
I think the thing that scares you most about getting jammed is how much it hurts your fingers.
You got to pick your days to do it on.
Yeah, definitely on a cold day.
The numbers for Robinson during this current 4-game hitting streak. Got Martin at first, nobody out, a 2-1 count. There goes Martin. The pitch is way inside, and Leonis Martin, without a throw, steals his 8th base of the year.
No contest on that one. He could have gone in standing up. Had a big jump off Kazmir.
Martin gets himself into scoring position. Count is 3 balls and a strike to Chirinos. And a fastball to the inside corner. Chirinos trying to sell that idea to home plate umpire Marcus Castillo.
Well, that one looked to be a little bit inside. Got a big one left, though.
That time called. Anymore, well, not anymore. It's unusual to see an umpire that sits on the inside shoulder of the catcher. That you get the inside corner and a little bit off. A lot of times the umpire that's sitting right where he is will give you a little on the outside part of the play, but the inside corner they call very tight. Kazmir with the payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Pulled the string, and Chirinos way out in front of it. 1 out.
The ability to throw a different pitch other than a fastball in a fastball count. Oh, the pitch did look like it could have been ball 4. It turns into a strikeout instead.
Well, with Martin still at second base, Josh Wilson will step in. Wilson, you see only 5 at-bats against Kazmir in his career and doesn't have a hit yet. Hitting .271 overall. And takes strike 1. Josh had a couple of very big hits against the A's in that series out in Oakland. Also scored a big run. Scored the winning run in the middle game of that series, driven home by Michael Choice. Leonis Martin out there at second base. Josh trying to get him home here. Rangers trailing 4-0. One ball and 1 strike. Good look from the top of the lower level down the left field line. RF camera that roams all over Globe Life Park, giving you different angles and letting you see what the fans see from different parts of the ballpark. And everybody right now is seeing a conference between the mound and home plate between Derek Norris and Scott Kazmir. Kazmir back to the mound and Norris back down behind the plate. Stepping back in is Josh Wilson. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Leonis Martin establishing his lead at the bottom of your screen. Out there at second base. And he throws it in the center field. Martin up and going, and Coco Crisp can't throw. So Martin easily scampering to third on a throwing error Oh, Scott Kazmir. I think Martin just baited him into making that throw.
You never know with the Rangers. Down 4-0 means nothing. Martin is liable to steal third base. Doesn't have to now, though. But if the ball goes into center field, you probably can go to third. Crisp, one of his strong suits, is not throwing. Didn't get that out of his glove anyway.
Now we're set. The 1-1 pitch. Hit hard, but laced foul down the right side. Oh, it's 1-2 to Josh Wilson. Well, that error by Kazmir, the 24th error committed by Oakland this year. That is tied with Cleveland for the most in the American League. Rangers have been better lately, but they're still at 21 errors as a team. One ball, two strikes. Kazmir set. Got him swinging. Going down and in. Nasty stuff. And Wilson gone on strikes. 4 punch-outs now for Scott Kazmir.
Yeah, last 2 on off-speed pitches really fooled Chirinos. Yeah, that looked like a changeup. Really fooled Josh.
Well, Martin's still at third, and now back to the top of the order. Shin-Soo Choo, who began things by being hit by a pitch. He was hit on a 3-2 pitch in the first, and then immediately doubled off on the ground ball from Elvis Andrus. Way outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Choo waiting, trying to get the Rangers on the scoreboard. They were shut out for the first time in 2014 last night, and Leonis Martin has himself just 90 feet away down there at third, but with 2 outs in the third here. And 2-0 the count. Choo with 7 RBIs for the season. Stepping back in and waiting for Kazmir to set. Chopper foul down the first base side. And the count moves to 2-1. It's played by Benji Molina down there. Makes a fan right there in the second row. Two and one. Choo waiting as Kazmir okays the side. And the pitch low and inside. 3 balls and a strike. Choo trying to get aboard to extend this third inning. Elvis Andrus waits to be next. Kazmir to the plate. Ball 4. Choo draws the walk. Runners at first and third with 2 outs for Elvis.
Well, technically, Choo's walked twice. He got hit on a 3-2 pitch that would have been ball 4. And he's right back where he left off. Hasn't played a lot in a while. First start. On base 2 times in 3 innings. Rangers need to make something happen right here.
Yeah. Nice.
Been pretty quiet so far.
Nice little 2-out rally and multiple runs possibly. And Elvis is due. He's just 1 for his last 23. And that average at 240, that's the lowest it's been since opening day. Kazmir's first pitch to him. And it's low and inside for ball 1. And Norris again going out to have a talk with his 30-year-old left-hander. Norris talking with Jed Lowry also. Probably deciding what to do as far as throwing the ball through or not if Chu were to take off. Well, the crowd getting into it a bit. Chuck Morgan, the director of In-Park Entertainment, encouraging fan participation. He's getting some. 1 ball, no strikes. The count to Elvis. Fastball nudges the outside corner. It's 1-1. Leonis Martin at third. Shin-Soo Choo at first. And Elvis takes low and in. 2-1. So the Rangers shut out last night for the first time this year. Only 2 other teams in the major leagues have not been shut out now, the Angels and the Rockies. Little topper down to first. Cayaspo will tag Andrews, and that will do it. And the Rangers get runners at first and third on a walk and a single, but leave them stranded. After 3, it is 4-0 Oakland.
Express rolling in from the big town of Sherman, Texas, and on board all the employees of Cable One, their family and friends. Are you kidding me? Having a good time here at Globe Life Park. Also on hand, we can't fail to mention the Fox Sports Southwest girls, Kami and Lindy. Lindy, what happened to the Fleeces tonight, girls?
I know. We were just going hardcore tonight. That's what Texas Ranger fans are about. We missed the weather memo.
Missed it. Okay, we'll fill you in next time. Do you guys have a good ride on the bus?
We had a great ride on the bus. They had always a nice time coming down.
And you have to live another day. The return of Jack Bauer on 24 coming up on Monday, right, on Fox?
Yeah, pretty quick in the next few days. Jack's going to be back. Everybody's excited about it. And up in Sherman, Wade, Grayson County, Fannin County, the whole thing. We're glad to have it.
Enjoy the rest of the game. Let's get a comeback here, all right, guys? Appreciate it. Buzz?
All right, Noxie, thank you. All the fans from Sherman out here. Glad to see them. Greg Gentry starting off the top of the 4th inning. And he fouls that one down on his left foot. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gentry led off the second by tripling to left center field. Came around to score on Josh Reddick's ground out. 4-0 Oakland. The A's with 6 hits. Rangers with just 1 hit. Gentry back in, and Martin Perez, hands together in front of him. Taking the sign. Well, he will wind and deal. Check swing. He went around. That is strike 3, and there's the second strikeout of the night. Well, Martin Perez, the first time that the leadoff man has been retired.
The A's are pretty good at laying off this pitch, the changeup down and out of the strike zone. Craig wasn't able to do it in that at bat, but as a team, they generally do a very nice job of making you get those pitches up.
Here's Josh Reddick, 0 for 1, but he does have that RBI on the ground out. Pitch is high to him, 1 ball, no strikes. Reddick now with 7 runs driven in. Perez back to the plate. The changeup floats inside. 2-0. Talking last night about the slow start that Reddick got off to. He was just 4 for his first 41. Takes a strike here. Put him in an 0.98 hole. That covered his first 12 games. And since then, though, he has gone gangbusters, 429. Rip and a miss, well located fastball from Martin Perez, and it's 2-2. Next pitch from the left-hander, that breaking ball is wide. Full count to Reddick. Well, Reddick trying to get aboard in front of the number 9 man, Nick Punto. Payoff pitch. It's called strike 3. Reddick dropping the bat in disgust. He was half-heartedly thinking about going to first base. Says something to Marcus Petillo on his way back to the dugout. Petillo staring him down on his way back there.
One of those borderline pitches, bottom of the strike zone. See the glove. And see the pitch, touching the bottom of the strike zone. Hitter hates that call, but generally, the pitcher kind of likes it, don't they, Buzz?
Yeah.
And that's not called a strike all the time, but it's not called a ball all the time either. One of those that I guess you never know what it's going to be called. It looks like a ball when you watch the pitch. It looks like a ball. Then when you see the rectangle and see the pitch touching, and you go, well, that was high enough. And I guess what you have to remember is that's measured where the ball goes by the plate.
Right.
And most hitters stand way back in the box, and of course the catcher's behind that. So the ball will go a little bit lower when the catcher catches it than where it was when it travels right past over home plate.
2-1 now to Punto. No back-to-back strikeouts for Martin Perez here in the 4th inning. 3 in the night. Punto, a fly ball to right, his first time up there. Perez trying to throw a 0 up on the scoreboard for the first time this evening. And the pitch is inside. It's 3-1 to Punto. Martin to the line. And that ball came up and got him on the side of the head. Punto will come back and try it again. The count will be full. If Punto is able to extend this inning, Coco Crisp, the leadoff man, is waiting to be next. Perez approaching 70 pitches. His next offering will be his 69th of the night. Left-hander's next delivery is poked to right field toward the line. Rios had him shaded that way, and it is a 1-2-3 inning for Martin Perez and the Rangers. You're going to the bottom of the 4th. Oakland 4, Texas nothing.
some work to do, down 4-0 as we head to the bottom of the fourth. And some good news, or at least encouraging news, to pass along from the injury front. An MRI today revealed that that right shoulder injury that Jurickson Profar suffered in spring training has now healed up. He will begin swinging of the bat as early as tomorrow in a throwing program next week. Also on the good news front, Tanner Scheppers will begin a throwing program on Thursday. So slowly but surely, guys, these gentlemen working their way back.
Thank you, Em. Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, very good news. Adrian Beltre starting things off, and there's Derek Conlon talking about the injury news. Derek continuing to work on the strengthening of the knee.
Sounds like Derek's making good progress, too.
I think if you talk to Derek, he would tell you it's not nearly quick enough for him. He's impatient, and rightfully so. I mean, that's a long process. There's only so many times you go home and be mad at the dog.
He should be real mad at his dog. He caused the whole thing in the first place.
Yeah. 0-2 pitch on the way to Beltre. That's way outside. 1-2 now. Adrian, the strikeout back in the first inning. A's leading 4-0. They have out hit the Rangers 6-1. Scott Kazmir back to the plate. And Beltre lines one to left center field. That is down. And it's going to split the outfielders. Gentry up with it. He will hold Beltre to a long single. Adrian not chancing anything with the ball club trailing by 4, but they have the leadoff man aboard. And Prince Fielder coming up.
Yeah, Ranger fans will remember Craig Gentry in the outfield. Obviously, he's got excellent speed, but he can also throw. So even though this ball is fairly deep and he had a long way to go in left center field, watch how quickly he gets to it. And he comes up and fires a strike into second base, too.
Well, the second Ranger hit. Here's Fielder. And trying to take it the other way and hits it out of play. 0-1. Fielder last time up grounded the ball to the left side and looked like he might have a shot at reaching base, but Donaldson, the third baseman, playing off the line, but not in an extreme overship, turned it into an out. Kazmir to the plate. And the pitch is low. It's 1-1. Fielder had his 10-game on-base streak snapped last night. He's still 8th in the American League with 16 walks. High drive to right field. And not carrying tonight. Reddick camps under it. That is out number 1. Back to first goes Beltre.
No, the good thing is he got it up in the air, but it hit a little bit off the end of the bat. Timed it pretty well, just couldn't reach the good part of the bat to hit the ball. A bit away from him.
Now Alex Rios steps to the plate. Rios, a fly ball to center. It's first time up there. Beltre at first. 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning. Changeup floats in high for ball 1. Alex waiting as Beltre gets a lead. And the pitch knee high outside corner. According to the umpire, but not according to Alex Rios.
Well, it's kind of the same thing that Josh Reddick saw right at the bottom of the strike zone. So Marcus Patil fairly consistent calling that pitch a strike. He likes the low pitch.
There's a drive hit well to left field. Gentry going back. He is at the wall, leaps up, it's off the wall. Beltre being waved around third. Here comes the throw from Lowry. The slide, he is safe. And the Rangers are on the board as Alex Rios doubles home Beltre. It's now 4-1.
Oh, that's what the Rangers are looking for. Get something going, hit the ball hard. Look off the bat like Alex might have had a home run. Gentry got back to the wall, but he couldn't reach it. And Adrian, just like Cespedes a couple of times, had to test that leg and make sure he could score from first base. Pitch on the inner part of the plate. Alex puts a good swing on it. The Rangers are on the board, still have a man in scoring position. Failed to get Martin in from third base last inning, but they've got one on the board, and maybe that'll open up the floodgates.
Well, the Rangers able to get a couple of hits in the inning. And now Michael Choice takes a changeup that floats in for strike one. Alex Rios with his 8th double of the year drives in his 12th run of the year. That's now tops on the Ranger club. Choice a strikeout as he ended the Rangers' second inning. Trying to bring Rios home. He waited nicely on that off-speed pitch and fouled it off to the right. No balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Rangers scored their first run of the homestand. See if they can climb right back into this here in this 4th inning. Still just 1 out. Kazmir a check of second base. Still 0-2. Choice hit safely in 7 of his last 9 ball games. The last 6 had been in the leadoff spot tonight, with Chu back in there, able to drop down to the 7th spot, the 6th spot, I should say. Trying to pick up Alex Rios from second. To right field, a base hit. Rios going to be held as that ball got to Reddick in a hurry. But the Rangers now, with 3 hits in the inning, have a run across, runners at the corners for Leonis Martin.
Yeah, good job by Michael. He's down in the count. He's seen a lot of off-speed pitches, but as soon as he saw the fastball, he drilled it. Unfortunately, he drilled it right at Reddick in right field, and Reddick has a very good, strong throwing arm from right field. And even though Alex runs well, Gary Pettis did not want to take a chance. You can see how quickly he gets it. He's actually got the ball before Alex reached third base. Well, now you're going to leave it up to Leonis Martin to do something right here with a man on third base and less than 2 outs. Make something happen right here. Try to get 1 run closer.
Well, Leonis had a single to center field his first time up there. Well, the Rangers able to put some hits together against Kazmir. And a ground ball to first. They're going to come to the plate with the throw, and they've got Rios hung up between third and home. Morris will make the tag. And a heads-up play down there at first by Alberto Callaspo. It looked like he was playing even with the bag after holding the runner at first. Got the ball without hesitation. He came home.
He probably figures he's going to have a hard time turning a double play with Martin running. So if you're only going to get 1 out, you might as well get the lead runner. And he chooses to do that. So instead of having a man on first and third in 2 outs, it's first and second in 2 outs. It's going to be an out either way.
You know, as close as he is to the bag when he catches this, kind of surprised he didn't step on the bag.
I think if he was thinking, he probably would have.
Now, he's not a first baseman by trade. This is the first year that he's played first base. So
they had time to do it for sure.
Yeah. So 2 outs now. Robinson Chirinos, a strikeout, his only at bat. He's got Choice at second. Leonis Martin at first, and Kazmir drops in the off-speed pitch for strike 1. Chirinos, as you can see, hitting at .226. A couple of home runs, 7 RBI. Got a couple of teammates out there on the bases. Late swing and a miss through the fastball. It is 0-2. Kazmir trying to limit the damage. Rangers trying to increase the damage. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chirinos in the last 10 ball games, a .273 hitter. Time called as Chirino's tired of waiting. This is the 16th start behind the plate for Robinson Chirinos. The Rangers have gone 11-4 in the first 15 games. Going to have to play comeback here tonight if they're to extend that. Got him on the fist right down the first baseline. It's a fair ball, and Callaspo will take it to the bag, and that'll do it. The Rangers do get a run, but they leave 2 on 3 hits. On to the 5th we go. It's now 4-1 Oakland. To send you on a VIP flyaway experience with your home team in LA. Text VIP to 638761 for your chance to be treated with VIP status. Sounds like a great time. Well, we go to the 5th inning, and as always, joining us on our Fox Sports Southwest telecast, Mark McLemore, co-host of Rangers Live before and after the ball game. You and Pudge and whoever your co-host anchor is. Tonight it's Aaron, and you get the honor of working with several different anchors.
I do.
That's nice.
It's been fun.
Yeah,
it's been fun.
Pudge fitting right in. He sounds like he's having a good time.
He's having a great time, and it's great to see him, do this. He's got a lot of knowledge, and I love to hear him up there just talking and just going about it. And for us, it's like, being back in the dugout, really.
Sure. Yeah, you guys spent a little time in that dugout together.
Yeah, a couple years.
Chris trying to bunt his way aboard. Chirino said, nope, not now. So
did you envision when you were talking in the dugout that you guys would be talking on the
well, first of all,
on the camera like that?
I never envisioned myself talking in front of a camera like that. And to take it a step further, definitely not Pudge. He was, and the personality that he's exhibiting now on camera is, the personality that he had as a player. Yeah. And I don't think many people really realize that. But, somebody was talking to me tonight saying they were watching me watch Pudge talk, and it looked like, I was just ready to, start smiling and laughing. And I'm sitting there thinking, yes, I was. Because, this is really... It's great to see him showing the rest of the world his personality.
Sure.
Not many people know how much of a jokester he is and how much fun he likes to have. And so to see that and just sitting there watching him talk, that's what's going through my mind.
But don't you find that to be true about a lot of the guys you were teammates with or even knew from the other clubs, that if people only knew their natural personality, other than what they see on the baseball field, they'd be amazed a lot of times.
They would be shocked. They would be absolutely shocked. I think that's a lot of guys are like that.
Beltre dived to his left, but the shot by Lowry under the glove, so he has a one-out single. He's aboard for Josh Donaldson. Lowry with his second hit of the night.
Third baseman Josh Donaldson.
Don't see that very often.
No.
Ball. He went by the ball. What do you do on that, Mac? Misjudged the ball?
You know, I can't tell you. It looks as though he did.
We're just so used to see him catch everything that's hit that way.
Right.
Donaldson driving it to left. Back is Joyce. It's off his glove and then off the wall. Stopping at third is Lowry. Into second is Donaldson. On a drive that Michael Joyce got back, and it looked like he might have lost where he was in relation to the ball. Reached up at the last minute and had the ball carry him off his glove.
Designated hitter, Yoenis Cespedes.
It looked like he got back far enough. He got the glove on it, just wasn't able to make the ball go in the glove. Hard hit ball directly over his head.
Well, that's going to be scored a double for Josh Donaldson.
Just didn't make the ball go in the glove. He got there. Not that it was an easy play. It was one of those hard hit balls directly over his head. And the ball that went by Adrian was hard hit.
Well, Mike Maddox out to talk with Martin Perez and Robinson Chirinos. Try and slow this down a little bit for him. The A's are the kind of club that if you let them just go ahead and swing the bat and not take time between pitches and between outs, they're going to snowball things on you. They get on a roll and you might as well forget it.
Yeah, they really do. You've got to slow this team down and not let them get that momentum. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yep. Well, the Rangers playing the infield in now with Cespedes at the plate. And the first pitch to him is down and in for ball one. See all four infielders at or near the cut of the grass. Cespedes 1 for 1 tonight. He has walked and singled. He has scored twice. A little tardy on that fastball, and it's 1-1. Well, the Rangers got their first run of the night in the bottom of the fourth, and right now Martin Perez trying to make sure that the A's don't answer with one or more of their own. Got runners at second and third with one out. A 1-1 count to Yoenis Cespedes. Pretty good pitch. It's chopped foul. It's 1-2. Now he's in a position where he can go for the strikeout. And with Cespedes, I got to think you've got an area up above the A on his shirt where you can get him to chase. Thing is, can you get it there with enough on it?
Yeah, you can't miss it. If you miss it, he's probably not going to miss it.
Perez sets a check of the runners. Down and in. Nice job by Chirinos to keep that ball near home plate. And it evens the count at 2-2. Like a changeup he just hung on to a little bit too long. 80th pitch of the night coming up for Martin Perez. Checked his swing on the pitch down and in, and the count is now full to Cespedes. Well, first base open, you can be a little bit careful, but you've got a guy waiting in the on-deck circle in Derek Norris that's doubled twice tonight. And each time he has driven in at least one run. Lowry at third, Donaldson at second. Perez ready. The payoff pitch is on the way. Inside, ball 4, and that'll load him up for Norris. Second walk of the night given by Martin Perez. They've both been to Cespedes. And now with the bases full, Derek Norris coming to the plate.
Well, Norris has probably been the A's hottest hitter, and he's seen two pitches that have cut right to the middle of the plate, and he's ripped both of them for doubles. So if there's ever a guy in this situation that you want to make the ball sink down and away to, it's probably Norris.
See, his season average now is up to 388. And he is a 2-run double in the first. Drove in a single run with a double in the third. Got bases full of his A's teammates. And Perez ready to go to work. Popped him up. First base side, infield fly. If it's a fair ball, it is. And it is an out as Prince Fielder gloves it. And that is a big out for Martin
Sure
Perez.
was. And Kazmier's pitching a nice game. If you want to be realistic about a comeback, you don't want any more damage done here. And getting Norris the way he's swinging the bat, that is a huge out. Well, the location was the same.
Yep.
The result was just different.
Well, two-away base is still full of A's. And Alberto Callaspo, a wily veteran hitter at the plate. 0 for 2 tonight. A strikeout and a flyout. That's out of play to the right. 0-1.
This would be a great inning for him to get out of. Got the bases loaded with the hottest hitter up, and you get him to swing at the first pitch. And now he's got to finish it off against Callaspo, though.
A potential momentum swing.
Huge.
The 0-1 pitch. Off the outside corner. You know, I guess you don't think too much about pitches or pitchers being able to swing momentum for the offense. Jason Frazier loosening in the Ranger pen. But getting out of a jam like this has got to be a big lift, not only for Martin Perez, but the whole club.
It really does. I mean, this could be a game-changing moment right here. This is the part of that game where you have to recognize, hey, this can change it, because if he gives up a hit, you know, it's going to be tough to come back from, 5 runs down, with the kind of game Kazmier's throwing. So if you get out of this inning, you keep your ball club in it. They're, a couple of base runners away and a swing away from, tying this ball game. So, yeah, this is a very big inning.
2-1 as Martin Perez came just that close to getting a strike. Left-hander back to the plate, and he misses low and away. It's 3 balls and a strike. Well, Callaspo, who's tough to strike out, but he's also not exactly the most prone to swinging at pitches out of the zone either. The advantage at 3-1. And the A's getting just 247 with runners in scoring position for the year. The 3-1 pitch. High ball 4, and that'll walk in a run. Now within and out of getting out of it. And Martin Perez can't get Alberto Callaspo. That brings home the 5th run of the night for Oakland. It's now a 5-1 A's lead.
Callaspo been struggling too. He's hitting about 175 in the last 14 ball games.
I think Ron Washington sensing that the tank might be a little empty for Martin Perez. He wants Jason Frazier, the right-hander, to come in. So Martin Perez, after back-to-back 3-hit shutouts, a rough outing here tonight. He will be gone after 4 2/3, excuse me, and he'll leave with property at every base, trailing 5-1. So Jason Frazier will be the new pitcher and make his way in from the right center field bullpen. And as he does, we'll take a timeout. Back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. 10 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest, where it's not about the score, it's about the experience. The Rangers looking for a little different experience here tonight. They're trailing 5-1, and Jason Frazier has entered the ball game with 2 outs and the bases full in the 5th inning.
Very dependable guy, Jason Frazier. This will be his 10th ball game. Doesn't have an ERA yet. Opponents are hitting a robust 120 against him early in the season in April. But he's been throwing the ball well. He pitched well for the Rangers last year, too, especially the last 4 months of the year. Can't wait to get home and open up that wiffle ball with the ball. Watch out.
Whoa, look out. Look out. That's what you're supposed to do. Wait till the Rangers come up to do that. Don't show the A's how to do it.
It's a bat. Might be a rifle, too.
Well, the scheduled hitter, Craig Gentry, has been called back with the right-hander Frazier coming on. So Brandon Moss off the bench for the A's to pinch hit with the bases loaded and 2 outs. A run across. Frazier trying to keep it at a 4-run deficit. Very high. The first pitch misses. It is ball 1. Moss, a .271 average. 4 home runs, 20 RBIs. You can see in a very impressive .370 on base percentage. Check swing, and that pitch is high. It's 2-0. Well, Jason Frazier a little upset with himself, I think, for getting behind 2-0. Moss waiting. Got Donaldson at third, Cespedes at second, Callaspo at first. See the infield in that overshift against Moss. Frazier, okay's the sign. He's ready to go. 3-0. Now Jason Frazier has inherited 4 runners, and 2 of them have scored before tonight. He inherited 3 more, and all 3 belong to the man on your screen there, Martin Perez. 3-0 pitch. A strike makes it 3-1. Brandon Moss, one of the better ones on the A's with that .364 average with runners in scoring position. Jason Frazier, the 36-year-old veteran, set. 3-1 pitch. Pop foul behind home plate. No, he has run the string all the way out. It's 3-2. And with 2 outs now, the carousel will wind up. All the runners taken off with the next pitch. Frazier climbing back on top of the hill. Jason now staring in for the sign from Robinson Chirinos. Letter high set, and the payoff pitch down the left field line, and that is slicing back into the first row. Beltre and Choice over there, but the ball out of play. Just over the tarpaulin. And we will come back and try it again. Moss pinch hitting for Craig Gentry. Gentry went 1 for 2 with a triple and a run scored tonight. And once Ron Washington went to Jason Frazier, then Bob Melvin went to his left-handed bat off the bench. Runners getting set to go, and again the 3-2. And another foul ball.
Moss has been tough on the Rangers. Around 100 at bats. He's hit 8 home runs, hit over 300. Got some big hits against the Rangers. Big home runs against the Rangers. Talked about him out in Oakland. One of those late developers. Played a lot of time in the minor leagues before he got a chance to play regularly.
3-2 with 2 outs. Everybody back in position, ready to reset and go at it one more time. Crowd giving a pretty good vocal backing to Jason Frazier and the Rangers. Now the right-hander is ready to go. The runners on the move. 3-2. Just missed ball 4.
How do you not swing at that pitch?
I don't have any idea.
He'd seen all fastballs. He might have been fooled, just couldn't pull the trigger. Either that, he's got a great eye. But that pitch has been called to strike several times today. Not sure where that stacks up with the pitch tracks are a rectangle, but it looks like one of those pitches that could have been right there. Yeah, it was kind of touching the outside corner. We've seen a couple of pitches like that called strikes, but not that one.
That's a pitch where everybody wants it. Not favoring anybody. It's the hitter wants it, the pitcher wants it, the catcher wants it. I believe the manager wants it too. So it's now a 6-1 game, and a ground ball through the hole on the right side. 1 run is home. Here comes Callaspo right behind Cespedes. He will score. And a 2-run single by Josh Reddick makes it an 8-1 game. Well, we were talking about the closeness of that 3-2 pitch. Reddick promptly bangs the first pitch he sees into right for a 2-run single.
Oh, it looked like last inning the Rangers had a couple of men on in a 4-1 game, a big hit, and they're right back in it. But bang, right in the top of the fifth inning, the A's come back and score 4 and build up a big lead.
Well, that'll close the book on Martin Perez tonight. 4 2/3, 8 hits, 8 runs. All of them earned 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. Well, 1st and 3rd now with 2 outs. Nick Punto turns around to bat from the left side, and he swings through a Frazier offering. It is strike 1. Punto, as you can see, has flied out twice, both to right field. Both those at bats were off Martin Perez. And the fastball belt high outside corner. 0-2. Jason Frazier gave up the bases loaded walk to Brandon Moss, drove in a run, and then the 2-run single to Josh Reddick. Now facing Nick Punto with still 2 outs and an 0-2 count. In the dirt, and again Chirinos doing a great job of blocking that pitch. 1-2. It's been a rough first couple of games here for the Rangers against the A's. This one only half over, so the Rangers time to come back if they can mount a charge against Scott Kazmir, like they started to in the 4th inning. Runner from first going. The pitch is in the dirt. Coming down the line to score from third is Brandon Moss, and all the way to third is Josh Reddick. That makes it a 9-1 Oakland lead. Well, it's going to be a stolen base for Josh Reddick, and then both Reddick and Moss advance on the wild pitch.
Kind of what you guys were talking about with the A's trying to slow things down, otherwise it can get away from you, and that's kind of what's happening right now, getting away from the Rangers.
The 2-2. Wilson gobbles that up on to first, and that'll do it. The A's send 9 men to the plate. 5 of them score. And we're halfway through the ball game. It's now a 9-1 Oakland lead over your Rangers. In the 5th inning. Now they have a commanding 9-1 lead. As we head to the bottom of the 5th, it'll be Josh Wilson, and then back to the top of the order, Shin-Soo Choo and Elvis Andrus. Brandon Moss, we have the pinch hit, bases loaded walk, stays in the game, and left field takes over for Craig Gentry. Scott Kazmir throws strike 1 to Josh Wilson. Josh 0 for 1, struck out his first time up there. Well, that swing and momentum, Mac, that I was asking you about, I didn't really think about it going the way of the A's, but it certainly has. Wilson trying to turn it back around in the Rangers' favor with a leadoff single.
This is a good way to start it.
No time for a Monster game break. Once again, here's Darren Harding here. All right, Aaron, thank you. The Rangers have Wilson aboard with a leadoff single. Shin-Soo Choo has been on both times that he has faced Scott Kazmir tonight. He's walked and been hit by a pitch. Didn't do anything for the batting average, but that on-base percentage continuing to go up. Kazmir to the plate. And Choo rifles one to right field. There's a base hit that'll have an impact on his batting average. Wilson stopping at second, so back-to-back singles reach Kazmir here in the 5th inning.
Well, we wondered how Choo would pick up, whether he'd pick up from where he left off after about a week without playing. And it looks like he has been on base all 3 times. Hit by pitch on a 3-2 pitch. He walked. It's a fastball and rips this ball into right field.
Doesn't look like he missed a beat.
No.
I don't know how you do that. If I sat a week.
Whew. Yeah, you can probably take all the batting practice you want, but going into a game is a different deal.
It really is. You just can't get up for, a simulated game
right.
or just batting practice. It's not the same as a game.
First pitch to Elvis. High in the air, but that will twist back and out of play. 0-1. Elvis 0 for 2. A couple of ground outs, once into a double play. 238 is that average for Elvis, continuing to head the wrong direction. He is scuffling. A base hit right here would make everybody feel better. Down the first base side, it is foul.
That looked like it hit the line.
Foul.
Wow.
Laz Diaz, the first base umpire, turned at the last second. That ball scooted by him, and he immediately made the call foul.
It's slicing. Oh, it's way fair. Wow. Whoa.
Now that, because it got by the umpire, is challengeable. That's a fair foul call that you can challenge. If it doesn't get by the umpire before it hits, it's not challengeable. But now Ron Washington, after getting the information from Joey Kredinsky upstairs, look at this, real close.
Whoa, I don't know.
Well, that is as close as you're going to see it.
It looks like a little chalk. No, let's see. Does chalk bounce up?
Now Diaz is right there looking down at it.
And one thing, if I'm the hitter, I think it's fair. You can't get a better look than Laz Diaz has. It's only about a foot away from him.
You can't. If he gets that wrong, that's going to be an issue.
He is right on top of it.
The challenge has been issued by Ron Washington, and we are going to have the crew chief Jeff Nelson and Laz Diaz go over and get the hook up to New York.
This will be the first time, if this is overturned, where we'll have to see where the umpires place the runners, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we would have to see that.
And I guess I didn't even see the ball kick back toward right field, didn't it?
I wasn't paying attention.
I think the ball hit the side and kicked back toward right. So I don't know if Elvis could have gotten a double, but you have to decide whether a guy from second, I guess, could have scored.
Right. You mean from first?
From first.
Yeah.
Well, no, the guy from second, because.
Well, if you say it's a double.
No, I don't think he could have got a double. The ball's going to bounce right to the right fielder.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So it's going to be kind of a short single.
Boy, that I don't think you could have it any closer than that, could you?
No, you really can't.
Laz Diaz couldn't get a better look at it than what he's looking. Right down on top of where that hit. Crew chief Jeff Nelson on your left.
Here's where the ball ends up. See, the ball's in shallow right field.
Oh, okay.
The ball caromed off. So could he have scored from second? I don't know. Might have to say the bases are loaded. Guess we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's assuming it gets overturned.
Yeah. Well, you want to be optimistic
I think
about
it's fair.
Wow. Foul ball.
Foul ball.
So it's
inconclusive.
We don't know that the call. That's part of what we are not able to find out from New York is, was the call confirmed, or was there not enough evidence, clear and convincing evidence, to overturn it? So it just stands. Don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to find out and let you know. But it is a foul ball. 1 minute 38 seconds on the review. And Elvis chops the next pitch foul the other way.
I think it was worth the challenge by Wash in this kind of a game. It's 9-1, and it was very close. So it's worth the challenge. Didn't go the Rangers' way, but it was worth the challenge.
Okay, the word we get from New York is the call stands.
Call stands, okay, foul ball.
Which essentially means there isn't video evidence to overturn it, but there's also not enough video evidence they could see that would confirm it.
That's right. That's right.
A 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count to Elvis. Then that's what, that's a good use of replay for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, and you really can't disagree. I mean, we're kind of hoping that the Rangers get the call, but you really can't disagree with the call. You couldn't really tell if that hit the chalk or not. And so I think the replay guys in New York made the right call, and Laz was right on top of that. Yep. He had his head on the foul line 1 foot away from it. So even though we want the call, I think you got to defer to a big league umpire on that one.
Still 1-2 to Andrews. Kazmir back to him, and the pitch gets away from Norris. Now that's going to allow everybody to move up 90 feet after some hesitations.
They got a good look at it before they decided to go.
A little red light, green light action working there.
I'll go if you go. You go first. I can't go first. That's Chu on first base. He can't run to second till he knows Josh is going to third. Chu wanted to go. Josh had to make sure.
No, second and third now. Still nobody out. We got Chu in second and Wilson at third. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Elvis Andrus. Kazmir will continue to work from a stretch. And the pitch to the plate. Slowly to third. Donaldson will throw across the diamond. Elvis is out. In to score is Wilson on to make the second run of the night for the Rangers. It's now a 9-2 Oakland lead. Elvis Andrus with his 6th RBI of the year. Chu staying at third on that play, or second on that play. One out, and here's Adrian Beltre. Kazmir trying to go after Beltre now for the 3rd time tonight. Adrian singled and scored in the 4th inning. 1 for 2. The first pitch to him is a changeup that's on the outside corner for strike 1. Adrian has hit safely in 5 of the 6 games that he has come back from the disabled list on. He's gone 8 for 22. Just off the inside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here you're talking about Chu coming off the disabled list, swinging a bat like that or coming away from an injury. Adrian Beltre comes off and doubles his 2nd time at bat in Seattle. He's hit a rope out there.
He did.
So what in the world is going on? Here's Sean Tolleson, the Ranger right-hander, getting loose in the bullpen. Kazmir with the 2-1.
A lot of changeups, boy. Kazmir is featuring that changeup frequently today. Pretty big differential in speeds between his fastball and his changeup. Fastball's 88, 89, 90-ish. Changeup's around 75 or 76.
Beltre shoots it out of play to the right.
That one was 93.
2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out, a run across here in the Ranger 5th inning. Kazmir a check of second. And Beltre a chopper to third. Donaldson waits for the big hop and fires across the diamond. Beltre retired. Chu staying at second. 2 gone for Prince Fielder.
First baseman, Prince Fielder.
Adrian back to the Ranger dugout. 1 for 3 this evening. Fielder 0 for 2. He grounded out to the left side to the third baseman Donaldson. Last time up, flied out to medium deep right field. In the dirt. And Norris keeping that near home plate, or near enough that Shin-Soo Choo decided not to go anyplace. Norris is kind of getting beat up this last half inning. Shin-Soo out at second. Singled, went to second on a wild pitch and got there with nobody out, but 2 ground outs later he's still there. Home plate umpire Marcus Patillo giving Norris a little time to regroup after that pitch in the dirt came up and got him on the bare hand. 1 ball, no strikes. Another pitch in the dirt. It's 2-0. Rangers looking for a spark, and they could get a big one here from Fielder if he gets into one. And it'd turn around things just a bit. Going the other way. It's off the glove and into left field. Donaldson couldn't come up with it. Chu coming home, and he will reach as Prince Fielder shoots one the other way for the RBI single. That makes it a 9-3 Oakland lead.
Hit that one a little harder than the last one, but it still was right near a fielder. But it was hit a little too hot for Donaldson to handle.
Fielder drives in his 9th run of the year. Like a normal guy that hit a ball just like that would have been an easy one-hopper to the third baseman. It pays to be strong. Donaldson, that ball probably had a little English on it too when it hit the dirt.
Yeah, he looked like he got jammed a little bit and maybe inside out of the ball a little bit. So probably, I'm sure it did have that spin. It's not a good spin for an infielder.
Well, with Fielder at first now, Alex Rios comes up. Rios an RBI double in the 4th inning. 1 ball, no strikes.
You could tell the way that he sliced that ball that it was going to have some spin on it. With both pitchers, if you added up their ERAs coming into the game, it was about 3. Obviously, it was a tough night for Martin, but hadn't been a gem for Kazmir either.
No.
Rangers only have 3, but it's the 5th inning. He's going to throw his 94th pitch.
2-0 to Alex Rios. Now 2-1. Well, the total for Martin Perez tonight, 87 pitches in 4 2/3. Kazmir at 94.
If that's a strike, the ball should have struck out Moss then, if that one's a strike.
Chopper to the right side. And Punto will underhand to Callaspo. That'll do it. Rangers get 2 on the board on 3 hits, and they leave 1. We have finished 5, 9-3 Oakland. Mac, thanks a lot for joining us. We will see you after the game on Rangers Live.
All right.
Brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Take the EcoBoost Challenge to see why Ford is the best in Texas. The Rangers chipping away at things. Is now a 9-3 Oakland lead. A's coming to bat in the top of the 6th inning. Jason Frazier back to the hill, and he will face the top of the order. Coco Crisp, Jed Lowry, and Josh Donaldson. Chris for his 4th at bat of the night. 1 for his previous 3 times to the plate. And he takes strike 1 from Frazier. Chris started tonight's game by doubling to left. Came around to score 2 outs later on a 2-run double from Derek Norris. And that got the A's going. They scored in 4 of the 5 innings tonight. A ball and a strike. The only inning the A's didn't put a run on the board in the 4th. It was a 1-2-3 inning for Martin Perez. Looked like he'd settled things down. A couple of strikeouts and a fly ball. And then the A's got back on a roll in the 5th. 2-1. Frazier came on with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Ended up walking pinch hitter Brandon Moss to force in a run, and then gave up a 2-run single to Josh Reddick before getting the final out.
Yeah, that was a tough call on the one for Moss. It looked like a slider down in the bottom of the strike zone. Borderline pitch, one of those that you see could go either way, but he didn't get the call. Would have been a nice time to get that called strike 3 with the bases loaded, though.
Ended up being a 3-run pitch.
Yeah, definitely did.
Call strike 3. And now he's got Coco Crisp screaming at him.
Well, the guy that had the argument was Alex Rios.
First strikeout for Jason Frazier.
Well, looked like Coco Crisp might have had an argument too.
Yep. No, 1 out. Jed Lowry now will step to the plate. Lowry is 2 for 3, a pair of singles. And a fastball to the inside corner for strike 1. Marcus Petilla, the home plate umpire, can't make anybody happy. He's got almost every hitter from both ball clubs saying something to him.
I think the only people that are happy are probably the pitchers. They've gotten their share of the calls today, I would say.
A looping line drive.
He hit that ball.
No, 2 gone. Josh Donaldson coming up. We're going over to Jim Knox right now. Jim.
All right, Buzz, one of the longest lines here at Globe Life Park tonight has to be the ticket office. They are lined up because they're getting tickets to the Red Sox game next week's series, Friday and Saturday. Almost sold out Sunday. Tickets are available. This Ranger fan looks like he should be playing catcher for the A's. Little look like. Not bad there. How's it going up here, huh? Not
I got
bad.
tickets to Red Sox game.
All right, happy about that. So get your tickets now. Seats still available next week. Getting ready for the big Red Sox series, Buzz.
All right, Knoxy, thank you. There we go. Little Let's Go Rangers going on. And Ron Washington goes out, and he's going to take Jason Frazier back to the dugout with him. He wants Sean Tollison to come on in and take over here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. Still a timeout at Globe Life Park. Back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. John Tollison is coming in. Let's take a look at the Ford leaderboard before we get to Sean Tollison. Oakland, with tonight's output, now second in the American League, tied with the Angels to the White Sox. They are still 17 behind the Chicagoans. Sean Tollison taking over, the bases empty. Josh Donaldson takes outside for ball one.
Ninth game for Sean.
Tollison, the Dallas native, grew up in Allen. And Donaldson, it's a towering pop fly to right field. Alex Rios waits for it to come down, makes the grab, and that will do it. Side retired, second 1-2-3 inning by Ranger pitching tonight. We're going to the bottom of the sixth. It's Oakland 9, Texas 3. The Sonic Slam Inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight the jackpot is $500, and the Rangers are hitting for Virginia Myers from Seagoville. And if the Rangers hit a grand slam during the inning, Virginia Myers from Seagoville will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. In the bottom of the sixth, Rangers coming to bat, and they will be facing a new hurler for the A's. It'll be right-hander Ryan Cook.
Well, Cook's numbers for the year, this will be his 9th ball game. Nice ERA early in the season. It goes low to mid-90s. Hard breaking ball. A couple years ago, he made the All-Star team as a closer. Then they acquired Grant Balfour, and he finished the year as a setup reliever. Balfour became the closer. Continues in a role as a setup reliever now.
Michael Joyce takes the first pitch, a knee-high strike. It is 0-1. Ryan Cook taking over for Scott Kazmir, who worked the first 5 innings. Gave up 7 hits and 3 earned runs. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Cook's next pitch way outside. It's 1-1. Well, here's the Budweiser pitching line for the aforementioned Scott Kazmir. 95 pitches, 62 strikes for the left-hander.
Kazmir continues an early season trend of having a lot of runs scored when he's on the mound. Got more today than he averaged. He came in averaging 6.75 runs per game for him. Got 9 of them today.
Cook in front of the count at 1-2. And Joyce pops it up into shallow right. Going out the second baseman Punto making the call and the catch for out number 1. Well, Michael Joyce now 1 for 3 as he makes a right turn at first base and heads back to the Ranger dugout. One gone. Leonis Martin will be next. Martin had a single his first time up there. That was in the third inning, leading off. He is 1 out of 2, having reached on a fielder's choice grounder the next time up. And Cook's first offering is low and inside for ball 1. Right-hander with a high set and a chopper to the right side for Martin. 2 gone. Well, Ryan Cook, a 26-year-old out of University of Southern California, signed originally by the Diamondbacks and made his major league debut with Arizona back in 2011. The trade at the end of that year brought him to Oakland. He and Colin Cowgill and Jared Parker came over in that deal that sent Trevor Cahill to the Diamondbacks. Well, what a trade that has turned out to be for Oakland.
Yeah, until Parker got hurt, he was actually pitching better for the A's than Cahill was for the Diamondbacks. And that's just those two guys.
Right.
Then you add Cook to the deal.
Low and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Chirinos tonight, a strikeout and a ground ball to first.
Yeah, the A's have made some good trades. They got Tommy Malone, one of their starters, and Derek Norris, their catcher, in the trade for Gio Gonzalez. I mean, they traded a fine pitcher, but they get a very good catcher and a very serviceable starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the one with Arizona. That turned out to be a solid trade. Hey, getting Josh Reddick. I think that was the Andrew Bailey trade with the Red Sox. That turned out to be a good trade. You get an everyday right fielder who's hit 30 home runs for you.
And Cook has a 1-2-3 inning as he strikes out Robinson, Chirinos. So we have finished 6. It remains the A's 9, the Rangers 3 on Fox Sports Southwest. Side of the Rangers tonight, a double drove in 2 in the first, and then in the third inning he drove in another with a blast off the wall and left. So Derek Norris, a big part of this 9-run outburst. In our 4-game summary tonight, Joe Oakland 9 runs on 9 hits, the Rangers 3 runs on 7 hits. Norris 2 for 3 tonight with those 3 RBI, and Rangers 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. And all that's has happened in the 4th and 5th inning. As we go to the top of the 7th, Yoenis Cespedes, the scheduled hitter, called back, and John Jaso is going to get a pinch hit in the DH role here, facing Sean Tollison. And Jaso takes ball 1. Cespedes 1 for 1, 2 walks, a single, and 3 runs scored tonight.
It says, go ahead, Buzz.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say Cespedes had missed 4 games with a hamstring injury. Came back today and had to score from first on a double twice. So he had to test that thing today. Looked like he came through it all right, but he's going to get the rest of the night off to make sure.
Dallas's next pitch is low. Jaso now with a count of 3-0. And Cespedes came up with 2 outs and a man on in the first inning and walked. And that was right in front of the Derek Norris 2-run double. Came up with the bases empty and 2 outs in the third and singled and scored. And then came up with 1 out and 2 on, walked to load the bases in the 5th inning. So he was right in the middle of every uprising that the A's had. Tollison issuing the leadoff walk to Jaso. So he's 1 on, nobody out. Derek Norris is stepping to the plate. That, by the way, the 5th free pass issued by Ranger pitching tonight. Martin Perez allowed 3. Mason Frazier 1. And now John Tollison 1. Norris takes the pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. Norris with the average at 380. He is 8 for 11 in the 3 games that he's played on this road trip for the A's. 1-1. I'd say that's a pretty productive streak that he's on. Tollison a check of first. And misses outside. 2 balls and a strike.
After this game, Norris will have an OPS, on base percentage plus slugging percentage, of over 1,000. When he's played, especially recently, he's been so hot. Doesn't have a lot of at-bats. But the ones he's had, he's made them count.
2-1 pitch. That evens things out. The Baylor X, Sean Tollison. Former 2-time state all-state pitcher up in Allen. Foul back. And we'll try the 2-2 again. Norris climbing back in the batter's box. And 1 on, nobody out. Tollison trying to find a way to get Norris to bang into a double play if he can. Out of play. Rangers turned 1 double play behind Martin Perez tonight. That was the 12th they had turned with the left-hander on the mound. Rangers, for the year now, have completed 34 double plays. Tollison again with the 2-2. In the air to left field. Michael Choice is playing fairly deep, so he trots in a few steps. Makes the grab for out number 1. And back to first goes Jaso. And let's go over to Jim Knox once again. Jim?
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. We have a Patriotic Fan Giveaway Day coming up on September 11th. This is great for Ranger fans. You guys can actually vote. You can vote on this. Check out the information on the screen. You got a camo shirt, a patriotic shirt, a canvas picture of the ballpark, or a camo hat. What would you vote for? What would you vote for?
Camo shirt.
Shirt? You?
Camo shirt.
Camo hat.
Yeah, you need another hat. Camo hat. Anybody else, girls? What do you think?
I think camo hat.
Camo hat, camo hat, camo shirt. I got 3 camo hats, but you can go to the information on the screen right there, hashtag it, and vote on the promotional giveaway September 11th. How about that, big guy, huh? You like that? September 11th. There we go. Vote now, Buzz.
Vote early and vote often.
Vote Knox.
A camo Knox, that's what we need. Alberto Callaspo at the plate has a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. John Jaso at first. 1 away in the top of the 7th inning. Could be a double play. Beltre to Wilson. Back to field. There you go. That's double play number 35 for the year, and the A's are gone in the 7th. Stretch time at Globe Life Park. Oakland leading 9-3 on Fox Sports Southwest. Waiting breathlessly for us to show you our fan photo of the night. Okay, folks, you can sit back down now. We're about ready to get to it. And this is from Rachel. Oh, look at that. Pair of Ranger dogs. They are some kind of cute. Thank you, Rachel. We appreciate it. You can tweet us your favorite fan photo. Hashtag Southwest fan photo. We will select a photo to be shown just about every night on our telecast.
Ryan Cook had a relatively quick 6th inning. He's back out for his 2nd inning. Only threw 10 pitches to get through the 6th inning. Pop up a ground ball and a strikeout.
Josh Wilson leads off for the Rangers here in the bottom of the 7th. And Cook's first pitch is in for strike 1. Wilson singled and scored his last time up. That was back in the 5th inning. So Josh at 280 for the year. Getting the start tonight at second base. And chops this next one foul. Donnie Murphy, you may recall, was banged up a little last night. He smacked one off his instep, and he was pretty sore today. So it was about time for Josh to get another start at second base anyway. But that kind of made up Wash's mind pretty quickly. They've been pretty much going back and forth, Josh Wilson, Donnie Murphy, getting pretty equal playing time, both doing extremely well. Swinging strike 3 as Wilson got fooled by the sweeping breaking ball from Cook. That's 1 out.
Designated hitter,
AT U-verse rewind will show you Shin-Soo Chu's return to the Ranger lineup. Got hit by a pitch in the 1st inning. Then he smacked one to right field for a single. That was in the 5th and came around to score a run. Shin-Soo is 1 for 1 officially. He has been on base all 3 times here tonight. Scored a run.
That base hit off Kazmir kind of continues a trend in April that he has been swinging the bat very well against left-handed pitching. That was something that plagued him a little bit in the past, but definitely has not shown up here in April.
Facing the right-hander, Cook. And he gets a fastball down the middle.
Chu this year, prior to tonight, hitting .391 against left-handers, so that's
probably 400.
Gone up a little bit. Yeah.
He's hitting about 120, 30 points higher against left-handers than he is right-handers.
Pitch outside. Yeah, the overall average now at .319.
He's going to have to work on his right-handed pitching hitting. Got the lefties figured out. Well, he's done exactly what the Rangers hoped he would do when they signed him. That's provide occasional power. He's a guy that is perfectly capable of hitting 20 home runs, 30 doubles, stealing 15 or 20 bases. And more than anything, being that guy that gets on base 39 to 41% of the time.
Right.
He's definitely doing that.
He's ahead of the count here at 3 balls and a strike. And ball 4. He'll make that 4 straight times that Chu has reached here this evening. He's aboard with 1 out.
He's one of those guys that just knows the strike zone. He's one of those rare hitters that if it's close and it's a ball, he doesn't swing at it. He went to first base. He knew that pitch was a ball.
Time for a Mazda game break. Once again, here's Aaron Hardigan. Aaron. All right, Aaron, thank you. Well, we have a pinch runner, and Dan Robertson is taking over at first base, making his major league debut here tonight. But Dan, who came over from the Padres organization, Rangers kind of got caught short on outfielders, and Robertson available and brought not only to the Ranger organization, but brought to the big leagues. Well, he is making his big league debut tonight, pinch running for Shin-Soo Choo here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, and at some point in time in the 8th or 9th inning, he has a pretty good chance to get his first major league at bat. Fernando Abad warming up in the bullpen for the A's.
1 ball, no strikes to Elvis Andrus. Elvis, 3 groundouts tonight. One of them did produce a run.
That's just the exact one he hit the other time. Boy, Robertson got down to second in a hurry.
He got down and undercut Nick Punto, and so Punto had no chance to make a throw.
Elvis has hit that same ball 3 times today. He hit it in the 1st inning, 5-4-3 double play. In the 5th inning, he hit it for an RBI. It's almost the same ball. One big hop right to the third baseman. That time it wasn't a double play, mainly because Dan Robertson got down there so fast.
So Elvis on at first. Adrian Beltre with his 4th at bat. He is 1 for 3. Single and a run scored in the 4th inning. 0-1 the count. A's 9 runs on 9 hits tonight. They have bunched them together pretty well. With 2 on the board in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and 5 in the 5th. Chopper to the right side. 2 big hops into the glove of Punto. Beltre thrown out, and that'll do it for the Rangers. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. We're going to the 8th. 9-3 Oakland on Fox Sports Southwest.
Globe Life Bar buzzing time for the progressive fan of the game. It has to be these fans here in left field. They came armed with the Michael Choice sign. This is Patricia. These are all school teachers in Mansfield, ISD, where Michael's from. What a great idea, but you have a special guest here tonight with you, huh?
We sure do. Sharia Choice, his mama.
Michael's mama, Sharina's here. Now, Michael is right there. Does he know you're out here tonight?
He know I'm here. I don't know if he knows I'm right behind.
Let me get it. Hey, Michael, Mama's here. No. You turned around right there. Patricia, congratulations. Here's the bag. Thank you for bringing everybody up. Appreciate it. Good to see you. Thank you.
That's pretty funny. If he turned around and yelled, "Hi, Mom," that would have been an all-timer.
Actually, you almost got Michael Choice to get one on top of the head. He had a fly ball hit to him while you're yelling at him. That's a neat deal. Michael has been very upfront about how exciting it is for him to play in front of his home crowd. And literally tonight, he's playing in front of his family. They're right behind him in the left field bleachers. Now, one out here in the top of the 8th inning, and Josh Reddick, who is 1 for 3, but he's driven in 3 runs tonight. Had an RBI on a ground out in the 2nd, and had a 2-run single in the 5th. And he pops this up. Adrian Beltre, just in front of the cut of the grass, makes the grab. That is out number 2. Sean Tollison, in 2 innings of work now, has allowed just 1 base runner. That was a leadoff walk in the 7th, and he got the double play to take care of that. Now Nick Punto up for his 4th at bat. Punto, a couple of flies to right and a ground ball to 2nd. Tollison with the pitch. And fires a strike. .234 the average for Nick Punto this year. Spent most of the last couple of years over the National League. Out of play. It's 0-2. Sean Tollison, some time in the National League with the Dodgers. That's who he came up with. And Rangers, of course, getting Tollison on a waiver deal from the Dodgers back in November of this last offseason. Our Echo pitch tracker. Give you the information. Call strike 3. Punto jackknifing out of the way, and Sean Tollison said, that is the 3rd strike. 3 up, 3 down. We're going to the bottom of the 8th. 9-3 Oakland. For the Oakland A's will be the 28-year-old left-hander Fernando Abad.
Another A's reliever, pitching very well this year, yet to give up an earned run. 10 innings, has 11 strikeouts. Opponent's batting average is pretty good too, .063.
A late inning specialist from that left side. He'll be facing a pretty good left-handed hitter in Prince Fielder. And our subject is Prince Fielder, Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery. Last time that he faced Kazmir tonight, and a rocket by Donaldson, the third baseman. And that drove home Shin-Soo Choo. As that freaky fast bolt to the opposite field by Prince Fielder drove in his 9th run of the year. A Fielder leading off the 8th inning. Fernando Abad, originally the property of the Houston Astros organization. Pitched last year with the Washington Nationals before coming over to Oakland in an off-season trade. 1 ball, no strikes. Fielder 1 for 3 with that RBI base hit. Abad back to the plate, and again going the other way. This one gobbled up by Donaldson. That's out number 1. Yeah, before Alex Rios comes up, let's check in with Aaron Hart again for a preview of what's coming up on Rangers Live. Aaron?
All right, guys, Rangers Live post-game presented by Esurance will feature Mark McLemore and Pudge Rodriguez with me here at the desk, not only breaking this one down, but looking ahead to tomorrow's series finale. Emily joins us from the clubhouse with player reaction and reaction from the skipper himself. And, of course, it's not a Rangers Live without Jim Knox entertaining the best fans in baseball. It's all coming up on Rangers Live postgame immediately following this one.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Alex Rios taking a called strike. It is 0-1. Rios 1 for 3 tonight. Double RBI in the 4th inning. And he takes a knee-high strike here. It's 0-2. Our Skag pitch tracker showing you right at the bottom of the strike zone, that last pitch, and pitch number 3 a little bit out of the zone. 1-2. Base is empty, 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning. Strikeout number 1 for Abad.
A pretty good fastball at 94 miles an hour from Abad.
2 outs. Michael Choice now was hit. Like, we would be remiss, and I'd forgotten to do it earlier in the night, but I send along happy birthday wishes to the Rangers skipper. Ron Washington celebrating his birthday tonight, or today and tonight. Well, happy birthday, Wash. I believe he would have preferred a little different birthday present than what he's had for the first 8 innings. Skipper not exactly in a celebratory mood right now. Changeup floats outside to Michael Choice. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Abad had been around for a little while. He pitched in the big leagues with Houston. Last year with Washington. They made a trade with Washington to get him. He's pitching better right now than he ever has. Might have found a home out here in the A's bullpen.
2-1 the count to Choice. And Michael, he just got under that. That's going to carry well to left field. And back right at the wall is Moss.
That almost went a long way.
And in front of the Choice family out there. Moss puts it away, and that will do it. Rangers gone in order. We're going to the 9th at Globe Life Park. 9-3 Oakland. inning in AT&T Uverse. I'd like to remind you about tomorrow night's game. Again, 7 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Jesse Chavez off to a very good start in a starting role for the Oakland A's. And Robbie Ross Jr., 1-1 with a 245, making his 6th start of the season. 7 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Tomorrow night, the wrap-up of this 3-game series. And Neil Kotz has come out of the Ranger bullpen now to take over and pitch the 9th inning.
Well, Neil had his best outing of the year, stuff-wise, the other day in Seattle when he faced 2 hitters and struck both of them out. Had much better command, better fastball, sharper breaking ball.
Going after the top of the order, and Coco Crisp swings through the first pitch. It is 0-1. Crisp 1 for 4. First inning double and a run scored. Neal back to the plate. And strike 2. Let's go down to Emily Jones quickly, huh?
Well, Buzz, you were talking about Neil Kotz and the stuff he had his last time out. I talked to Andy Hawkins about just kind of the up and down that he's had so far this season, and he actually thought that last outing was the best that he's seen from him in 2 years, which, of course, we know after last season is saying quite a bit.
Little looper in the center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Oh, Crisp got an 0-2 pitch up on his fist and fought it off into center for a leadoff single. Yeah, that's saying an awful lot considering how good Neal was last year. At 111 earned run average, and he just didn't seem like he gave up anything. Now, Crisp aboard. That is the 10th hit of the night for the Oakland A's. It'll bring up Jed Lowry.
Sean Doolittle getting warmed up down in the A's bullpen. Doolittle's trying to find his rhythm from last year, too. He's struggled a little bit this year. 6.17 ERA.
Neil Kotz popping that fastball in there knee high. Lowry 2 for 4 tonight, a pair of singles. He has scored once and lined out a couple of other times. Just off the inside corner. It's that cutter from Kotz. It's 1-1. Crisp at first, not being held on by Prince Fielder. Out of play to the right. 1-2, the count to Lowry. A's last year got Lowry from Houston, filling that shortstop spot that they felt was vacant. And he has done a very, very good job for him. Got him swinging. Well, a good fastball away at 91, and Kotz gets the punch out. One gone, and Josh Donaldson will step in.
Well, Neal threw the ball in Seattle much like he did last year when he had that big year, the one with a huge ERA that he had. And that pitch right there to Lowry was a pitch he threw a lot last year. Pitch up and away with 2 strikes to get a swing and a miss. And we saw him do that in Seattle as well.
Tried to bring that cutter back on the outside corner and just missed. Donaldson 1 for 4 tonight. Doubled and scored in the 5th. Hitting at 276. And he skies one to center field. Backing up a few steps, Leonis Martin. He will make the catch. That is out number 2. Crisp back to first base. And John Jaso will come to bat one more time.
Designated hitter John Jaso.
Jaso came on as a pinch hitter for Yoenis Cespedes in the 7th inning. And a leadoff walk that frame, and then he was doubled up on a double play grounder from Callaspo. Kotz first pitch to him. A strike on the inner part of the plate. Jaso hitting at 232, a home run, and 4 driven in. Just off the outside corner. 1-1. Kotz set once again. And he misses low. Crowd tonight of 30,221. Mostly disappointed Ranger fans that were hoping to see Martin Perez extend his scoreless inning streak. And instead, Pudge up there in the Captain Morgan Club along with Aaron Hardigan getting ready for Rangers Live as Jaso draws the walk. And that puts 2 aboard with 2 outs for Derek Norris.
Catcher Derek Norris.
Well, that is the 6th walk issued by Ranger pitching tonight. Norris 2 for 4 as he steps to the plate. Driven in 3. Pair of doubles. There's Crisp at second and Jaso at first. Kott's first delivery is a little bit low for ball 1. Neal set and back to the plate. Fly ball center field. That sends Martin back a little ways, but the illness there makes the grab, and that'll do it. A hit, a walk, 2 left for Oakland. We're going to the bottom of the ninth. Rangers trailing 9-6 with Martin, Chirino, and Wilson 2 up. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Take the EcoBoost Challenge to see why Ford is the best in Texas. The A's leading the Rangers 9-3. We head to the bottom of the ninth inning, and Sean Doolittle, the bearded left-hander, is coming out of the bullpen to take over for Bob Melvin's club.
Well, Doolittle has pitched really well out of the A's bullpen. In fact, well enough to where he signed in the offseason a nice multi-year contract. But he's off to a little bit of a slow start this year. He's been in 12 games. And he's had a lot of strikeouts, 13 strikeouts, no walks in 11 2/3. And I think if you saw that, 11 2/3, no walks, 13 strikeouts, you would make the assumption that his ERA was not 6.17, but it is. He's given up some hits and a couple of home runs, too. Look at what he's done the last couple of years. It's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, Doolittle last year appeared in 70 ball games. Went 5-5 for Oakland and pitching in some very tight situations late in the ball game. Leonis Martin 1 for 3. He takes strike one. Leonis a single back in the third inning. Rip and a miss with the off-speed offering from Doolittle. Sean Doolittle originally signed as a first baseman / outfielder. And
yeah, it's quite a story.
Yeah. Injured, he had severe knee injuries. And during his rehab, he was encouraged to try pitching. And he said, oh, okay, I'll try it. He went to the instruction league and threw about 5 innings and struck everybody out. And he said, well, that might be a good transition for you.
Next thing you know, he's in the big leagues. I think when they tell you to try pitching, they're pretty much saying they don't think you can hit.
Yeah, if I remember right,
he got a great arm.
Yeah, he hit fairly well. I think the injuries kind of got to him. He had a career 272 minor league hitter. No. Didn't have the kind of pop that you were looking for from a corner infielder, but he had 18 home runs one year at Stockton, which is A-ball.
Well, he's probably sitting here pretty happy now that they offered the chance for him to pitch.
Yeah.
It's worked out really well for him.
Low and outside. The count goes to 1-2. We've seen him at times where he's virtually unhittable.
Yeah, he comes right over the top with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Sometimes that's all he needs.
1-2 pitch. Martin being a pretty pesky hitter, fouling that pitch back.
There probably aren't many batteries in baseball that can sport more facial hair than this battery. I'd say they're at least in the top 3.
Yeah, since the House of David went out of existence, I think you're right. Fly ball to center field. Crisp retreating. Still going back. He'll stop shy of the warning track. And that is out number 1 as Leonis Martin gave it a pretty good ride.
Sure did.
But he'll finish at 1 for 4.
There's what we're talking about.
Now that mask on your left is a mask full of hair. There's no doubt about that. He and Mike Napoli, when Knapp was catching or put the mask on last year when he had that big beard with Boston, that's about what it would have looked like too. Got stuff scraggly coming out the sides. That's a mountain man beard right there. 1 ball, no strikes. The count to Robinson Chirinos. Now 1-1. Chirinos 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts and a ground out tonight. So that season average down to 218. Our Skag pitch tracker for you. 2-1. And the Rangers needing a comeback here to prevent losing their first home series of the year. There's a base hit to left field. That maybe starts a 7-run comeback. Chirinos with his first hit tonight. That's a new career high for Robinson. His 5th consecutive ball game that he's hit safely in for most of his career.
Well, he seems to have won the majority of the playing time behind the plate. And he's doing a nice job.
A 1 on, 1 out. Josh Wilson, a single in 3 trips, stands in. Strike 1. Rangers now with 8 hits tonight. They have been out hit 10-8. They've been outscored 9-3. Doolittle sets the 0-1. 0-2. Josh Wilson, particularly going back to the time he spent in Seattle, really known for his defense. And Not a whole lot was said about his offense, but I think he swung the bat pretty well. That pitch notwithstanding. But he's done a pretty good job. He's had some big hits and driven in some big runs.
Yes, he's made his hits count. And when the season ends, if he's hitting 271 like he was when this game started, he'll be happy with that, and so will the Rangers.
Yeah.
Combine that with the versatility in the defense.
Now, Daniel Robertson is going to have his first major league at bat. Came on as a pinch runner for Shin-Soo Choo in the 7th inning. Well, the first major league pitch thrown to him is a strike from Sean Doolittle. Robertson, as you saw, taken off the El Paso roster. San Diego Rangers brought him over. Fouled back.
I like the comments that he made when he found out. He said he went into the manager, and the manager says, I have good news and bad news. He said, well, start off with the bad news. And he said, the bad news is you got traded to the Rangers. And he started thinking, he said, well, that's not that bad. What's the good news? The good news is you're going right to the big leagues. What a thrill that must have been for Daniel.
Yeah. 0-2 pitch. Now 1-2. Robertson out of the Oregon State University program that had a couple of great years put back to back, and they've since had some good years beyond that. 2-2. National champions a couple of years at Corvallis. Robertson was hitting .364 with El Paso at the time of the trade. The 2-2 pitch. Little looper down the first baseline in pursuit Callaspo, and the ball drops just about 7 or 8 feet into foul territory. Then we'll come back and try it again. Robertson, the 33rd round pick of the Padres back in the 2008 draft. Doolittle reading the signs. The left-hander's ready to work. Got him swinging. The fastball up, and that is going to do it as the Rangers have lost their 3rd consecutive ball game. That's the first time this year that the Rangers have lost 3 in a row. So they'll try to bounce back tomorrow night in the finale of this 3-game set. Again, the final tonight is the A's 9 and the Rangers 3. Aaron Hardigan and Mac and Pudge will be back to wrap things up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.